How about from the crowd? Any questions?
Over here.
All right. Here you go. Hold on a second.
Sorry, given the corporate structure of Kildare's, what do you do to go after the corporate market where you attract receptions, convention goers coming to your facilities?
You got to buy the pub in the box. Sorry. No, just kidding.
Already bought it.
You already bought it. I can tell you that we, at Kildare's, we have an in-store marketing person in every one of our locations, and I work with that person to do research. So we have a calendar right now for every one of our locations that's constantly changing, goes all the way out to the end of December. It has to be an ongoing relationship with your Convention and Visitors Bureau, Chamber of Commerce, meetup groups. It's not a one and done where you just go online and look these things up. And then you have to build the relationships with them by hosting events for them. Sometimes you're giving a little bit away. Sometimes you're, giving them a little love with a gift card here and a gift card there, inviting them in for lunch, and then they'll feed you the business.
I can say an experience we just had about this the other day was there's an apartment complex out in the suburbs of Westchester, and every year at the end of the fall break, they throw a party for the residents. Most of the residents are seniors or graduate students, and then in the end of the spring break, they do the same thing. So they just had a big event the other day, and basically what happens is they know all these seniors are graduating and that they're going to be emptying their apartments out, and they want to get immediate refill in the apartments. So they actually took Kildare's Westchester on a Thursday night, and it was basically the apartments buying you beer night. So the apartment invited everybody that lives in the complex, and they each could bring another friend. And now that's been a corporate relationship where they've done that with us now for 8 years, twice a year. We never have to think about it, and it's like a $3,500 night that is just automatically in the book. But for them, immediately they fill all their apartments, and they don't have to market their apartments. So that's one example of a corporate relationship that we just continually every year make sure that we build, and then we follow up with.
Okay.
Other questions? Anything, marketing, anything?
No?
How an Irish bar is something you want to market it to everybody. And every year on St. Paddy's Day, Plow on the Stars starts out, say, in the morning with Jimmy Lynn has an Irish breakfast. He's a judge. So that like one year I was there from 10 in the morning till 2 o'clock that evening. But it was all the different, it appealed to everybody. Like in the morning it was Irish dancers, so you had the mothers there and people telling jokes. And then they brought business people, and they came in for lunch. They stayed there, and then there was another band. Then at night it was college kids. So they marketed it to everybody. So I agree with that you got to market it.
They did, and I don't know if there's anyone here from the Plow on the Stars, but I know that on St. Patrick's Day that morning, Judge Lynn, who's a local judge here in Philadelphia, holds a big giant event and invites all kinds of politicians and VIPs from the city in, and that's not by accident. It's because of these long-term natured relationships that, similar to how we were able to get that party in Westchester.
We have another question here from Frank from Brittingham's.
Good morning. I was wondering, going forward, kind of looking into the next 5-10 years, do you think that advertising money in print ad and TV, is that basically dead? Are we moving on to this Twitter and Facebook and that's it?
I love your answer to this.
Is this the one about marketing in 2011 isn't bought, it's earned, and I mean, there is a more crude version of that.
There is.
Maybe considering the audience, we might do it. Yeah, it says that marketing is, how does it go again? Marketing is like, marketing in 2011 is like sex, only the losers pay for it, right? So we've got to earn it, okay? We've got to earn our marketing. And it's basically saying that we don't trust print ads anymore. I'll show you an example in the morning that says that 14% of people trust an ad because they know it's paid for. They know it's not independent, it's not impartial, it's paid for by the owner trying to get people in the door. What they do trust is peer recommendations. They're trusting social media. Why? Because it's their friends, it's their network, it's the people they hang out with who said, I was at the bar, it was terrible, don't go back there. If you think, when was the last time you made a serious purchasing decision of anything from your meal to a car based on just a print ad or just on a TV ad? It's unlikely that you went and made your purchase then after seeing that. What's most likely is that if you got a recommendation for a great bar or a great restaurant, you went out and you tried it because you thought, John down the road liked it, and 7 other of my friends liked this restaurant. So I think that money spent on print and radio is much harder to measure the effectiveness. Whereas online, at least we can see whether it's working or not for us. And if it's, I've got a saying that says if you're going to fail, we want to fail fast, so that we can cut spending on something that's not working for us. And we can't measure that so easily with print and radio. So that, I mean, that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think that there's still some value. I mean, it differ a little bit, but I think it has to be in layered. Like if you're 100% relying on your print, radio, television, anything like that, I think you're probably just wasting money. If they're used to reinforce some of your other internal programs, some kind of bounce back, value play, a good strong social marketing plan, then I think that they can be cost effective, but I think you have to be very careful in what you buy. I mean, if you think about just like you were talking about with recommendations, I mean, how many people use Yelp? You know, geez, I go on Yelp all the time to check out reviews of restaurants. You know, anybody can go on to Yelp. I can go on to Yelp and Yelp about all the Kildares I want, and people will trust that more than if I purchased a $10,000 ad.
Yeah, like last night, there was a few of us who wanted to make a choice for where we should go to eat. We pulled up Yelp, brought up a whole list of restaurants that were nearby, and made a choice based on that. But then we asked somebody else for a recommendation on top of it. We didn't look through a magazine just for, you know, a quarter-page ad and thought, yeah, let's go based on that. We used social media and a personal recommendation to make our choice. And I think a lot of us do that every time, and our customers do it, so we just have to be aware of it, I think.
You also need to examine your local market that you're in. We have one pub that's in a town that we think's about 30 years behind the times.
Yes, we do.
And we still do they have like a weekender publication, and every one of our competitors is in there. So we spend that money even though we don't spend it in other markets, because we see that every one of our competitors is doing it, and people actually do still grab that magazine. You'll see people all around town flipping through it, and you want the presence in it. Where in that same town we had a billboard, and Frank argued with me for a year to get rid of the billboard, and I thought the billboard was valuable. We got rid of the billboard, sales went up. And it was a digital billboard. And I think the digital billboard made me feel good when I pulled into town. I saw my big thing up there in advertising, but it never made sales go up. And eliminating the digital billboard cost and putting it into local marketing brought in charity events. It brought in events that immediately produced money rather than just brand identity.
I think we have one more question down here, Dave.
Noel from Boston.
Firstly, I agree with you on the print versus social media. I know our company about 8 years ago, we did about 80% print, 20% electronic web. We changed that over about 7.5 years ago to 80% web and social media to 20% print.
Okay.
About 4 years ago, we went with the whole Facebook thing and tried to develop it and things like that. What is your view? My question is, what is your view on smartphone applications? Because that's where, at the moment, we feel we're getting almost the most we can out of our Facebook accounts and our Twitter accounts and our website and everything else. I just want to know what the next big thing is going to be.
Okay. I think smartphones have a big part to play in it. I'm not a big fan of developing apps for restaurants and bars, just because I think the content that you're pushing out there could be available through a mobile version of your website that people can get in their smartphone. But what I do see as being a big area of growth, we'll hear a lot more about it, is location-based marketing. So Foursquare, Facebook Places, your smartphone knows where you are. So when you go to a restaurant, you can check in virtually and you can earn rewards. It's that old school loyalty system brought to a whole new level, where you can reward repeat business, you can reward people for arriving with 4 or 5 of their friends. It's something that when, Frank said he checks Yelp wherever he goes, we checked Yelp last night. More and more of us are checking for recommendations when we arrive in a city or a town for that first time to see, well, what do other people say about it? We all check review sites before we ever book a vacation. We want to see, well, what did anybody else say about it? So I think we need to be aware of what people are seeing on their smartphones about our business in terms of the review sites, in terms of geolocation like Foursquare and Facebook Place. I think that's the huge growth area, and I've got a number of examples of ways you can utilize those tomorrow in the presentation to really take advantage of that walk-by business, just people who are in the area for the first time checking it out, and also those who just choose somewhere else because they see so many bad reviews of your business based on other people, other customers who've gone and done the work for you. The interesting thing with that is that we have no choice whether we jump in or not in this for our bars or restaurants. Our customers have already decided that this is something they want to use. We can't just decide we're going to adopt Yelp, we're going to take on Foursquare. Information on every one of our bars and restaurants is out there right now. Whether we choose to jump in the conversation or not, I think is the next thing. And those that are and engaging back and forth are seeing the returns. So I think being aware of it and understanding the conversation that's out there in that bigger water cooler, around the water cooler now, the virtual water cooler, I think is very important.
All right, guys, we've got another question here. Noel, as well on that, you have there's an app in the Philadelphia area. Some of you guys have probably seen so far, Social Pass. That's really a mobile phone app, and the mentality behind it is the guy sitting at your bar has a $400 or $500 phone in their hand. Wouldn't you rather give them a free beer every X number of things, or whatever the promotion is, 20% off when they come into your town? That doesn't do geolocating, though, of people. There's another app coming out called Loso, where you'll walk into Westchester, Pennsylvania, and if you're a member of that, it'll tell you what spots are doing a special for that particular brand or for that Loso app, and that you can redeem it. Okay, and then it allows the pub owner or restaurant owner to actually send that person a direct thing. So where Loso is going to be in 6 months, and some of the other brands will be, you'll actually be able to go on your computer in your office, put in your identity, put in your information, and everybody that's an app user of that particular app that's in your town, you'll be able to send them a message. So let's say you have 20 empty seats. You'll be able to say the first 100 people that come to Kildare's or come to Tiernanog get 10% off their bill. And then you can pull it instantaneously. Once you fill those seats, you can pull that ad. And you can actually see who's in your place. So it's going to advance a lot. There's some apps out there, and nobody's got the market cornered yet. But in the Philadelphia market, I know Social Pass has started to get a scene. But they also don't do geolocation. So your apps pop up whether you're in King of Prussia, Westchester, Philadelphia, or New Jersey. It's going to get very specific to where if you're in these 5 blocks, you're considered a target of marketing, which is pretty amazing that they'll be able to do that. And you are? Craig.
Comment and question. Comment, Yelp can be a real dangerous thing on a bad Yelp review. So I highly recommend that you get on it straight away, especially the owner of the pub or your senior manager or whatever. I've turned a bad thing into a real positive thing. So that's
Right.
hugely important. But the question is, on social media, there's a point of overkill, do you think? Too many emails, too many text and these type of things?
Yeah. Yeah, there's absolutely a point of overkill, and 2 bars next to each other in the same street will have a different point of overkill, and we don't know that until we test it. So we've got to work out what our customers want from us. So what are they? What are our specials? What are our events we're most known for? What are our customers clicking like on our page for? What is it they expect when they do that? And some bars can post 15 times a day, and their customers love it. Others will post once a day, and their customers will hate it. So there's normally a period of measurement. Anytime I develop a strategy for a client, I work out what the goals are, what they want to achieve, and then what content should we deliver to reinforce that or to try and achieve that goal. And then we have to test the content, because let's say you've got a Facebook page that's been sitting there idle for 6 months, you haven't done anything with it, but it's got 1,500 fans. As soon as you start posting content once a day for 5 days, maybe you get a lot of unsubscribes, people click unlike because they're not trained to expect content from you on a regular basis. So it's a kind of a dual effort of training the customer to show them what it is we're going to put out here all the time, but also testing to see what gets interaction, what gets comments, what gets likes, and finding your sweet spot. And I think it can take a couple of weeks, it can take a couple of months, but it's about constantly refining it until you find that spot. And it's ultimately about monetization too. What makes me money? People say I should have 10,000 fans, I want 5,000 followers on Twitter. That's only a very partial measurement of your success. The real measurement, and no matter what people tell you about social media, the only way to measure success with it is how many dollars did I make this week as a result of just what I did on social media. And if you can't work that out, then you need to start finding a way very quickly, and I'll show you some ways tomorrow, how to measure my successes on that. It could be something as simple as the hostess at a restaurant asking, how did you hear about us? Something simple like that, and tracking it, but we can get more elaborate with it. But the sweet spot can take some time to find, but it does take testing. There's no one size fits all with it, unfortunately.
Very much. We've got last question right here because we're running over. Everybody gets a break, and then we actually come back for a food panel discussion. We have a chef from Tiernanog. We have Dan right here from Tiernanog. We have U.S. Food chef. We have 3 or 4 other chefs will be on a panel, and it'll be about food costs, food items, and then we get into our cooking demonstration just after that as well. And a whiskey tasting. You like whiskey, don't you, Connor?
Hi, I'm Connor. I'm living in Toronto at the moment, and I'm signed up to Groupon, and every day I receive an email saying 25% off, 50% off, just to get away slightly from the social media, seeing as you'll be doing that tomorrow. Is this something that you've experimented and dabbled with? Do you find it positive? And simply because I started taking golf lessons on Monday, on Wednesday I got an email saying 50% off a simulator course, and suddenly I bought it, and now I'm going to go there, and I would have never even heard of this golf course otherwise. And
Yeah.
so like for the first time, I was like, oh, this is actually something that's directly being targeted at me. You know.
Yeah, I've actually used a couple of services like that. I think it's absolutely brilliant from a marketing salesperson standpoint because they can go now to a business and say, you don't have to give us any money up front, and then we're going to pay you, and they make a mint. The only thing I'll caution you on is you usually don't make any money off of it at all because you probably get $9 for every $30 that you would put out there. That being said, it's not that it's not right all the time. We found that we've been very successful with it when we start up a new concept because I don't think there's any way faster that you could touch 100,000, 150,000 people and educate them on what your brand is. You just got to understand that the cost of doing that and honoring all those certificates are going to affect your cash flow, and that they're also going to you're not going to make any money off of them. So if you're willing to do that, it definitely has its place for it.
It's not
we
a
don't
big
do it that
sell.
often.
I don't like it for bars and restaurants that are established. For me,
Right.
like you say, it's that new bar, the new restaurant that you want to draw attention to. But think if you, as a bar or restaurant, if you adopt a Groupon deal, can you take 1,500 people coming into your bar over the next 2 weeks potentially or a month? And also, what I see a lot of bar and restaurants doing who run a Groupon deal is that they'll get the deal and then they'll start advertising it through their Facebook channels, through their Twitter accounts, to all their existing customers who they were already getting the full rate from. They didn't need to offer the Groupon rate to their existing customers. So the trick is it should be used completely separately from your existing marketing so that you're attracting a whole new bunch of customers that you never had before, as long as you can handle them. Staff complain because they get this barrage of people who tip on the reduced amount instead of tipping on the full amount. Can your service handle it? There's this whole issue that goes with it. And a lot of studies show that the retention rate or the repeat business from a customer who comes in with a Groupon is it's almost not worth doing it because it can be that bottom feeder customer who's looking for that cheap deal, who doesn't value the service, they just value that cheap deal.
And I can tell you, it wasn't specifically that service that we've used. It was one that we could actually pick through the demographics and say, these people all make over $100,000. They all live within 5 miles. They, all have a net worth of more than $250,000. Where some of these other services, you can't offer that. It's just, this is our list. It is what it is.
Thank you very much. Frank
Thank you,
Daly
guys.
and Barry Chandler. Thank you, guys.